friends, it's Sharon from Mad Paper Crush here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing some December planning. I couldn't wait to get this month started. I wanted to do some fun things inside my junk journal planner. So I hope you'll join me as I work on the month of December. All right, so I am starting out. I wanted to put some ornaments on my opening page, on my cover page for December. And so I was just trying to take these old book pages and make them a little bit sturdier. So I glued a couple of them together to kind of give them some weight for myself. And then I'm going to grab my watercolors, as you can see here, and I'm just going to add some color to these pages. So I'm going to be cutting things out of them, and I wanted to start with some fun colors on these old book pages. So I do want to just let you know that I have been sick, so I apologize if my voice sounds a little off right now. I'm not 100% better, but I am getting there. So I apologize if my voice sounds a little scratchy. All right, I'm adding some red to my other set of pages here so that I have some green and some red to work with. Now I did create some ornament shapes, and basically I did that by folding a piece of paper in half, another scrap piece of paper, and then just kind of drawing a shape that I thought would look like a fun ornament. So I did that for 3 different shapes, and now I'm cutting them out of my colored paper. And I thought it would be easiest to fold those papers that I watercolored in half before I traced and cut them out, just to make sure they were pretty even. And when you cut things out of a folded piece of paper, you only have to do one side, and then it makes it symmetrical, which is nice too. So I'm working on just getting those cut out, and I really like how the shapes are looking with the watercolor on there. All right, my next step was to just add some marks to these ornaments. So I'm not using anything except what's in my imagination and my experience with mark making. So there's going to be dots and lines and squiggles and these little bulby things here that I've colored in. Lots of marks to add to the look of my ornaments. And just so you know, I have left my mistakes in here. So I did cut out some of the video for time, but I did leave some of my mistakes in here just so you can see that we're all human and sometimes you make mistakes. So I did struggle with this one a little bit in what marks to actually add. You can see I ended up adding some asterisks and just some little like little dash lines there. And then I went back on that middle one and I added some loopies, as you can see I'm doing here on this one. So sometimes you kind of have to think, well, what am I going to add next? And you can see I'm sort of fiddling with my pen, and that's because I'm just trying to think, okay, what kind of marks do I want to put down next? So this took way longer than it probably should have, but I wanted to just add some marks in, and I like the way they turned out in the end. So now I'm just placing them on my cover page. So I've opened up my planner to where December is going to start. And because I'm using a junk journal planner, there's not going to be a bunch of white pages all the time. I just kind of go with whatever's next and see if I can make it work. And now I'm just gluing down my ornaments so that they fit kind of on the page in a nice sort of pattern. And then I'm looking through my little ephemera notebook here to find some labels that I thought I could use to add the date and the year. So these labels come from my vintage label kit, and I will link that down below if you'd like to take a look at it. I have lots of different shapes and sizes and colors of labels in that kit, and they work great for all sorts of projects. So here's another mistake, I guess, that I left in. So I wanted to add some lettering, and every time I tried to write the D in December, I did not like it. And so I kept going back and erasing it, and I finally came up with a D that I liked. For some reason, I don't like an uppercase D in cursive, so I just went with a lowercase one, and I liked the way that one turned out. So now I'm just going back and removing the pencil lines, since I did have some pencil lines that I wanted to get rid of there. And now I'm adding my strings that are holding my ornaments before I add my labels on, and then I'm just going to glue them down for my cover. All right, with my cover all done, I start out on my next page. And normally I like to put in a monthly spread in here, but I thought I wanted to try something a little bit different for this December. And I had come across someone who bullet journals. Her website is itsclaudiag.com, and she had done a timeline instead of like a monthly spread. So it's similar because it's going to have, the dates on and the month on and things like that, which you'll see I'm going to be working on here in a minute. But I liked how it went horizontal across the page instead of vertical on the page. And when she wrote things in, she was kind of pulling them down from the numbers to kind of make it look like a historical timeline of some sort. So I am working on just adding the month name again, and I'm using these watercolor pens that I like. They're from Hippie Crafter, and I had done a review of them earlier, and I really like the way they write. They add nice big thick lines, and they look like watercolor. So I'm just adding December in here, and then I'm going to start working on some of the graphics that I'm going to be doing across the top. Okay, I wanted to add some doodles across the top, and so I thought I would add some holly berries and some leaves. And these aren't perfect. I wasn't completely in love with them, but I decided to go with it. So I know that once I start coloring them in, they'll probably look a little bit better than how they were when I just had them hand drawn. So I did also decide to go in and add some candy canes at the end of the December word there, since I had a lot of room. I thought I would just fill that in with a little bit more as well. And so now I'm just going in and I'm going to color in my holly berries there, and then I'll use the green to color in my leaves. I definitely like the way my holly leaves and berries turned out much better once I had them colored in. So I grabbed my favorite white gel pen, and I'm just adding some more interest to the letters here. I'm adding some dots inside the letter Decembers, and I'm also just going to add a little bit of accent inside the holly berries and along the leaves as well. And now for my final bit here, I'm going to grab a black gel pen and just add some outline to everything. So I think this just helps kind of bring it all together. And I'm not doing this real carefully. I just kind of want to look like, the things were painted inside without a lot of, care. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to do the same with all the leaves. I'm just going to go back and kind of outline them all, and I'm not worrying if the pen goes inside of the watercolor lines or outside. I just kind of want to have that extra touch of outline there to make it stand out a little bit more. All right, with my border done, my top border done, I'm just coming back in now and I'm adding some tick marks so that I can put my dates in. So I wanted them to be relatively even across the whole page. And just to be sure I could do that, I went in and added a little bit, like I kind of divided up, about 15 and 15 on each side so that my numbers would be relatively equidistant from each other so that my timeline there was across the whole thing and I didn't have to squish in any letters anywhere. And now I'm just erasing those tick marks, and of course I smeared them on the right side of the page. The paper on that right side is old ledger paper, and it takes a lot longer to dry than the white paper that's on the left side there. So now I have my timeline, and I've added some tick marks in there, and I'm just adding a couple of things in here because I wanted to see what it would, see how it would work if I was, putting it together as a timeline. All right, I grabbed some Christmas scrap papers, and as you can see, I cut out some circles from those pages that I had done for the cover page because now I'm working on the first couple days of December. So December starts on a Friday. So I'm going to have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as kind of this first half week in my planner here. And so I just used some bits from my Holly and Ivy kit to kind of separate the days to kind of kick off this week plan here. And then since I have some Christmas papers down already, I'm just going to add the date and the day on these to separate these days out of this week. And then I'll be moving into my first full week coming up right here. And as you can see, I'm kind of thinking through, okay, where do I want this to be? And now this was another layout that I had seen that I thought I wanted to try, where you just take some lines and kind of, put them on your pages like you see here, and you create sort of Christmas lights that separate your days of the week. So on the left-hand side, I wanted to have 3 spaces for days, and then on the right-hand side, I wanted to have 4 spaces for days to get my whole 7 days of the week on this spread. Now I'm just writing in all of the days of the week here, and I'm trying to keep them away from the lines that I had drawn because I'm going to be adding in the little lights in a minute, but I just wanted to make sure all that was working. And then I went ahead and added my dates and realized that I added them wrong. So I put those little spots that I had cut out on top of all of the dates I did wrong there and then re-added them in. So when I was looking at my calendar, it starts on a Monday it starts on a Sunday. And so I added the 3rd, even though the 3rd was a Sunday, and my weeks on my bullet journal, I like to start on a Monday. So I had to go back in and redo the dates here. So I had to start with 4 instead of 3. And as I said, I just left my mistakes in. I was trying to go with it. But I do like these little dots on there. I think they turned out just fine. And then I even screwed up another one. So I put Saturday as the 8th instead of Friday. So I was really having a tough time with this one for some reason. All right, now we're getting into the meat of this one, and I'm just going around all of the lines that I drew to add in my little lights here. So these are definitely not perfect shaped. Every, 3rd one I think I drew, I liked the shape of, but that was fine. And I was trying to do it on either side of the main line there. And then I was just adding a little bit of a topper, and then I was connecting them, to the line to make them look like lights. So I like the way this turned out. Very simple, easy to do. And once they get colored in, I'm really going to like this spread. I think it's going to get me in that Christmas spirit. All right, I did cut out some of me finishing up the lights there. I didn't realize how long that took, even on double speed here. So now I'm coloring in my little twinkle lights here, and I decided to use some colored pencils. So I wanted to see if they work, and these actually turned out really good, even on this page that's more of a cardstock page or a natural style page. They even worked very well in there. As you can see, those colors are popping pretty good for me. So these are, I think they're Stadler colored pencils, but I like the way they turned out, and I didn't have to wait for them to dry, which was a bonus. And as you can see here, I forgot to add one whole row of lights, so I'm just going back in real quick before I'm coloring them all in to add those in. So I was trying to spread out the lights sort of in a not a totally random pattern so that I wouldn't have two greens next to each other or two yellows next to each other, and so I needed to make sure all of the lights were where they needed to be before I was coloring them all in. All right, my second week is done, and now I am working on my third week. And this one, I decided to use those little punched out circles with the watercolor book pages to create just some ornaments here. These little circles make perfect date spots, and so I thought it would be fun just to use them kind of as is. And they also match that the week before that I ended up putting the wrong dates on. So for my ornaments here, I'm adding in some tops, and then I am just putting down the dates inside of the circles there. And then I will go back in and add the days of the week as well, just the abbreviated day of the week. So the first three letters of the day of the week, just so it's a visual for me there. And of course, I have to add in my little strings to hold everything together and kind of make it look like they're dangling from the top of the book there. I really like the way that turned out. And now I'm just adding in the days of the week. All right, on to the next. So that was a very simple week that we just finished up. And now I'm moving on to the next week here. And this one, I found an old piece of scrapbook paper, a 12 by 12 piece of scrapbook paper that altogether I'm not that crazy about, but some of these little shapes that I'm fussy cutting or punching out, I do like. So I thought that the sort of pink color with the snowflake in the middle would make a nice Christmassy scene there. So I'm just cutting out a bunch of those to kind of separate my days. And then the middle circle of some of these big flowers also are kind of fun. And I don't think you can really see it on here, but these things had some glitter on them. So they do they have a little shimmer to them as well. So they're very festive. All right, I have everything punched out, and I'm kind of just moving things around now to see if they're going to work the way I want them. And as you can see, I kind of separated them out as I would normally put my week separated. So with the glitter and stuff, I'm not going to be able to write in these circles, but I do like the way they just kind of delineate the days on this weekly spread there. And even some of the pieces that were at the edge of the page, you can see there they didn't become a full round circle. I just put, at the edge of the page too, so that they would look like, that was intentional, even though it was at the end of the page there. All right, so now that I have all of those glued down where I want them, I go back, of course, to check my dates to make sure I get those right. But I'm going to start by writing in the days of the week, just so I have them on there, where I want them. And now I'll just add in the date right underneath there. So this is real small, and this takes me up to Christmas Eve here. And I figured just to add a little bit more, I would put some lines on this one, but certainly I wouldn't have to do that. I don't know how much I'll have going on this week that I'll need to write down in my planner, but at least I'll have some days ready to go if I need to write in there. All right, this is going to be the last week because this will take me up to the end of the year, which I can't believe. And I grabbed another piece of old scrapbook paper. So this one, as you can see, is black and white, and it has all kinds of words on it, which I thought was really fun. So I decided to fussy cut out some of the ones that I like the best, and I'm going to use these for sort of my markers for the days of the week. I know that I probably won't have a lot going on this week, so this will be the week after Christmas, and my husband has off, and my daughter has off, and so we'll probably be just enjoying the holidays with family and friends. But I still wanted to have the days of the week in my planner in case I needed to write anything in, or if I wanted to jot down a memory or something, which I think is always nice as well. So since Monday this year is Christmas Day, I cut out the Merry Christmas piece there for Monday, and I know I'm not going to have a lot on Christmas Day, so you can see I'm putting my jingle all the way up top, and I like that these are nice and big, even though I know that that's not going to leave me a lot of space to put anything. So, and then I decided to, on the other side of my page, since I have that envelope in my journal here, there was a little hummingbird in the lower corner there on the right-hand side of the page that I just covered up with my Merry and Bright. He wasn't very Christmassy, so I thought I would just put the Merry and Bright over top of that. And now I'm just very simply writing a date and the day of the week so that I have it written down in case I want to write anything on there. All right. My December is all ready to go, and I thought I would do a little flip through just so you could see how all the pages turned out. So my first one here is my cover page with our book page ornaments and just a marker on the month and the year. And then I have my timeline here, which I'm kind of using as my monthly spread. And I can see I need to add the days of the week in there, which I didn't do. And I have my first couple days in there. Not very Christmassy, but once you get to this week, it gets really Christmassy really fast. So I have my light spread there. And then I have this simple ornament page that I loved how quick and easy it was to do, but still very festive. And then we use some scraps for the last couple weeks to kind of give us a Christmassy feel and finish up the rest of the year. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, friends. Thank you so much for joining me for my December plan, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.